lunch. I think my job would be to rather keep you awake, and keep you engaged in this particular seminar. So what I'll be doing is I want that it to be an interactive session. So I might probably ask you questions in between, and I also expect that you should be able to answer at least some of them. It's only that one way of me being able to, I could see some cheers when I did mention about that, and some of them who is going to be the person. So probably it will be a uniform thing. I'll try to address the issues and also try to ask questions to across all the participants who are here. So basically, as Sir said, when he had discussed, I think for a derivation of a month back, wherein if I recollect correctly, it's Joe Sir who called me, and he wanted that a seminar should be done over here on IP in general. And also, I understand that the audience over here is you have students not only from science discipline but also from other streams, right? So we have. Can someone raise their hands who are not from science stream? So you are not from science stream. Oh, that makes my job a lot more difficult because this session particularly deals with patents. So patents are more kind of a technical thing. So it's a scientific. I would say an intellectual property which deals more with scientific literature rather than other forms of IP. Sir did mention that because of paucity of time, he wanted me also to deal with copyright, but copyright is not my domain. So that would have been more beneficial. Normally what we do is we have a one-day seminar and we cover not just patents but also other aspects of IP, so which would be beneficial to the general public at large. So if the majority of the audience is from disciplines other than science, I don't know how beneficial it is going to be. But let's see. I hope you will be able to understand at least some concepts of what patents cover. So patent is just one form of intellectual property. So there are various forms of intellectual property, and this happens to be one of the most sought out tools and also the most controversial tools of IP. How many of you have heard about the word IPR prior to coming to this particular session? What do you understand by IPR? Intellectual property rights. What do you understand by intellectual property? Right. So you are quite well there. So you're using your intellect to develop something which you can own or possess. So that forms a part of intellectual property. So it's called as an intangible asset. So if you compare it with a physical property, it's something that can be physically seen or touched, or it has all those sorts of what a physical object should have. But in the case of intellectual property, although it is intangible, that means you cannot physically feel it, but it always leads to a tangible product, right? So even if you look at patents or copyrights, patents always is something that is created out of your intellect. But as you see, what comes out in the market is something that that you can physically see or feel it, right, or use it. Likewise, copyright. So copyright, if you look at, it's something that's created by virtue of somebody's intellect, human ingenuity. But what comes out in the product, for example, if it's a novel, so that is something you can physically feel or see it. But whatever goes into that thing, I mean, whatever is the crux of that particular novel is something that is created by human intellect. Right? So today I'll only be dealing with one aspect of intellectual property. You can stop me, and if you have any questions, please raise your hand in between. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So it should not be like I'm talking to a wall over here, right? So it does not make sense me coming all the way from this side and then just telling a lecture for the sake of it. So I want that it should be interactive. So I'll just give you a brief outlay of what I am going to discuss today. Basically, there are two sections, as you can see in the title. One is there's an introduction to the patents, And then also I'm going to discuss about a tool that is which can be used for searching patent information. So there are two sections. I can't guarantee that I'll make masters of you guys in 2 hours time, but it's just an awareness program so that I can make you aware of what exactly, providing a brief introduction of what exactly patent is and certain things in patents, and also how you can check whether if you want to protect your invention. So what are the steps that you need to take before protecting your invention? Right? This is the structure of my presentation. As you can see, I am providing you a brief introduction of patents. What are the prerequisites? So, what do you mean by prerequisite? That means if you have something which is worth of being patented, so there are certain steps that you need to take. So that's what I'll be looking into, prerequisites. And then for you to secure a patent, there are certain requirements that you need to meet. Right? For example, if you when you plan to join this particular college, so you have to meet certain eligibility. Right? So if you are joining for a science course, you need to have a basic degree, a basic plus 2 degree in that particular science subject, and then you have certain CGPA or certain marks that you need to have. So likewise, in the case of patents also, there are certain requirements that you need to fulfill. And then there is certain subject matter for which patents cannot be afforded. One such example is, for example, you have come up with a mathematical method, so that is not subject matter of patent. So we'll also look into detail what the excluded subject matter is. And a certain way on how you can possibly avoid those exclusions. So if your invention falls into the category of non-patentable subject matter, how could you possibly avoid those? And what is the requirement for you to file patents? So what exactly is the motivation for you to file patents? Certain do's and don'ts. So if you want to file a patent application, right, so you have an invention, then there are certain things that you should do, and there are certain things that you should avoid doing, right? So we look into in details what things that you need to do and what things you need to avoid. And then certain patent myths that are tried to clear. Then what I move into is the patent filing and prosecution. So how does the filing mechanism work? So just a brief outlay on how you can file patents, what are the procedures that are available, and what options you can exercise. And then I move into the next section, right, the basics of patent searching. So I'm just going to familiarize you with some tools in the sense, certain databases, patent databases, based on which you can carry out a search if you have an invention in hand. Right. So what's the best part about the patent literature databases is that it's freely available. Unlike non-patent literature database or scientific literature database, which you can only access if you have a subscription, right? So if your college or your university has a subscription only, then you can access literature, scientific literature, which is not patented, right? So if you want to look into patent literature, there are certain databases which are freely available, so it's easier for you to access those databases. So I'll just be providing some illustrations. I have an illustration based on which I'll just give a brief idea on what my idea is, what my concept is, and based on that I have just included an illustration or an example and how you can go about it. So basically, what are different methods of patent searching, right? So one of them is the keyword-based search, and then you have classification-based search. Keyword-based search is something you normally do on Google, right? So whatever you search, it forms a part of the keyword-based search. And then we look into the classification search, so which is analogous to what is followed in the case of library classification systems. And an exercise, as I said. So what are basically patents? I said it's just one form of an intellectual property, right? And what does it protect? It basically protects an invention, right? So inventions are basically categorized into two, whether it has to fall in the category of a product or it has to fall in the category of a process. And then what are the requirements for a patent is that it has to be new, it must involve an inventive step, and it must have an initial application. So since all the IPRs, when it is secured, it gives you certain rights, so which are statutory, which are granted by the government, right? So these are limited rights, that is, it's there only for 20 years time period. And what are the rights provided? The rights are provided to prevent others from making, using, selling, importing, and offering for sale your patented product. So it's either a product or it can be a process. So a product which is obtained by a patented process, right? So there are two categories under which you have to classify invention. It has to be either a product or has to fall in the category of a process. Now, what's the myth is that patents are only granted for breakthrough inventions, right? But practically what you see is these days we don't have breakthrough inventions. So most of the basic research has been done. What we are coming up with is just application of those research, right? So what we have is now is, rather than breakthrough inventions, what we have is more than 60% of the inventions that are patented are incremental innovations, right? Are improvements to already existing inventions. So how is an invention defined in the Patent Act? In the Patent Act, it's defined as a product. Right? It has to be a new product or a process which involves an inventive step and which is capable of being applied to an industry. So if it's a product, I've included some categories of products. So you have a device. It could be a medical device. It can be an apparatus, right, an analytical instrument, or it can be a composition of matter such as lubricants and soaps, right? Or a chemical compound. So you have invented a new a molecule that would fall in the category of a product. And the category of process, what you have is the technology. Technologies are normally fall in the category of process. Then you also have methods of operation, right? So all these are broadly classified in the category of process. Instructions, particularly instructions are something that you use in a software program, right? So you use algorithms, so that also falls under this particular category. Although computer programs per se that we say is not patentable, as such you can't get patents for object codes or source codes, but you can get what you can get patent for is a particular application of that particular software, right? So if you're using a software for let's say the automation of a particular industry of a particular equipment or an instrument, that could be a subject matter of patent, but not the software program which you have written to make that particular product work, right? So it's just a functionality part that can be covered. So what are the prerequisites for patents? First and foremost is that you need to meet the requirements of patentability. So what do you mean by meeting the requirements of patentability? As I said, first is that your invention must be novel, then your invention must involve an inventive step, and the third is that it must have industrial applicability. So we will look into what exactly all these particular parameters are in detail. Now you also need to carry out an assessment of the patentability of your inventions. Why do you need to carry out an assessment of the patentability of your inventions? Let me bring an analogy, that is, if you want to purchase a physical property, could be a land, could be a flat, or anything, right? So what's the first thing that you do? Do you go outright and make a purchase of that physical property? Is that what you do? Yes? No? Maybe? How many of you say yes? How many of you say no? How many of you say maybe? Then you can still go and make a purchase. The only thing is, if there is an issue with the property, what you end up is you end up losing your money and you end up losing all your. It creates an additional tension. It might give rise to new diseases, which you will acquire new diseases, right? If you purchase a property without carrying out a background check. So likewise, if you have, as I said, intellectual property is one kind of property. So if you want to get your invention protected, so we recommend that you always carry out a background check of whether your invention is already there in the public domain, right? Whether it has been patented or whether there is any publication, any scientific literature that has been published. So if there is something already in the public domain, then you can't get a patent for that, right? It's just like you are going to purchase a land or a flat which has no clear title, right? So you have issued with the title, so there is this particular property which has an issue with the title, and you still go ahead without carrying out a background check, and then you go and purchase it. So that kind of risk, to avoid those kind of risks, what we do is we carry out an assessment of your invention, right? So these are all the three. Avoiding activities which affect the patentability of your invention. So this is the first step that we look into. We look into the details of all these prerequisites. And then fourth, and the most important is you have to describe your invention fully and particularly. So what do you mean by describing your invention fully and particularly? That means patent is basically what we say is a statutory right which is given by the government in exchange for full disclosure of your invention. That means it comes into the public domain. Once the patent is filed, it gets published, it comes into the public domain. So what is in it for the public is that the dissemination of knowledge, right? So you should be able to practice that invention in the same manner in which it has been described in that particular document. So, and that means you should get the same result and the same product which has been described in the document. So that is the mandate. So government is giving you protection for 20 years in exchange for providing full disclosure of your invention. Right. So what it leads to is, one is it leads to dissemination of knowledge. Second, it also leads for working further on that innovation. So if you want, you can improve on those particular invention based on the information disclosed in the patent document. First and foremost, so these are basically some 3 steps that are necessary, right? As I said, whenever you go for, when you join this particular course, so you have to meet some requirements, right? So if it's a science degree, then you need to have a particular science degree in your previous course, and then along with a particular grade of marks, and also maybe maybe an age barrier as well. So likewise, in the case of patent, you have novelty, then you have inventive step, you have industrial applicability. The first step is novelty. So when can you say that your invention is novel? Right. So when it is not anticipated by any prior publication, or it is anticipated, it has not been anticipated by prior public use. So if your invention is already there in the public domain, by virtue of literature, the patent literature, or could be a scientific literature. So if an exact copy of that is available in the public domain, then what happens is your invention will not be novel, right? So all features of your invention are there in the public domain, could be by way of the literature. That means there is one document which is disclosing every aspect of your invention. Now, it could also be a scenario where there is no literature available, but that product is being sold, commercially sold in the market, right? So that also becomes, will affect the novelty of your invention. Second, and the most important is whether your invention involves an inventive step. So how do you, when do you say that your invention involves an inventive step? So inventive step is basically defined as to overcome an inventive step, you need to show that your invention has a technical advancement over existing knowledge, or we also say that it needs to have some economic significance. That means you have come up with a process, right, which is beneficial, or which is a cheaper version of something that is already existing. So that brings in an economic advantage. Technical advancement could be, for example, you have come up with, you have identified a particular problem in a particular product or a particular process, and after that you have tried to rectify that particular problem by way of an invention, right? So inventive step is basically clubbing of documents. So you have a particular document which provides a substantial portion of your invention, and then So it's like you are combining two particular literatures and coming up with an invention. So when that is the case, then your invention is not involving an inventive stuff. So there must be non-obviousness. That's what we say. So invention must not be obvious to a person skilled in art. That means you have read a particular literature and then you have read a second literature and then you combine all these and you come up with an invention. And the third and most important thing is there must be some sort of industrial applicability. So if you have come up with an invention, it must be capable of being manufactured on an industrial scale. And fourth is it must not fall into any of the non-patentable subject matter. So there is certain category of inventions for which patents are not granted, right? So if it falls into that particular domain, then also you will not get a patent. In India, it's covered under Section 3 and 4. So my focus is only on the Indian patent law. So this subject matter changes from one country to another country. So certain subject matter which is not patentable in India, it's not necessary that it's not patentable in the US. For example, I'll explain some of these things. So you have a method of treatment which is not patentable in India, but in the case of US and Europe, it's a patentable subject matter. Perpetual motion. What do you mean by perpetual motion? That means you have come up with a machine which you believe can last for a lifetime, right? So unless you show it working, so you can't have a machine which works 24/7 and 365 days, right? So and for 20 years, right? It's for a 20-year period. So patents in that subject matter you will not be able to get because it is not there. Perpetual motions are not practically possible. There are always going to be an efficiency loss. Discovery. Yeah. Any questions? Okay, let me continue. Second thing is discovery. So discovery is something that is already there in the nature. That cannot be patented, right? So you have to come up with invention. As you can see, my definition, the patent act definition is that patents are given only for inventions, not for discovery. Discovery is something that is already present in the nature. Discovery of living and non-living thing is also not a patentable subject matter. For example, you have discovered a new microorganism, discovered a new plant species, or you have discovered a new animal species. So all those things are not a patentable subject matter. Mathematical or business methods, because these are considered as abstract. Method of agriculture or horticulture. So what's the reason that method of agriculture or horticulture is not considered as a patentable subject matter? Any wild guess? Yes? I can hear something from the back. It will be good if you could give me answers rather than or you can ask me questions. You're welcome to do that. Right, so what it would do is it would increase the prices of fruits and vegetables, right? So if you give monopoly for methods of agriculture or horticulture, it will lead to increase in or rise in prices of the basic food needs that we have. Methods of medical treatment, the same reason. So if you have patents for methods of medical treatment, you are treating a particular disease, so that particular method is not patentable, right? Because it will lead to increased cost of so this is basically patentable subject matter in the US and Europe. So that's the reason the cost of treatment in US and Europe is very high, because they have patents for almost all sectors of industry, right? So healthcare, luckily we don't have we have stronger patent regimes than other countries. Computer programs per se. So computer programs per se falls under the category of literary work. So what do you mean by computer programs per se? So computer programs per se is the source code or probably the all the object code that is written down. So it's considered as a category of literary work because you write it down in English language, right? And then it's run by a machine. It's either translated to a machine. So it's just considered as a set of instructions. So what can be patented is, as I said, the application of that particular software program. That can be patented, provided it fulfills all the requirements that I was mentioning, right? plants and animals are not patentable subject matter other than microorganisms. So microorganisms, but not naturally occurring. So if you have come up with a genetically modified microorganism, that may be patentable. Biological process, as I said, biological process for propagation, production and propagation of plants and animals. So since it's a biological process, that means it's naturally occurring, right? But if there is a human intervention, so you have there is a process for making biogas, and what you have done is it may have let's assume it has about 30% efficiency. Now naturally that is the efficiency that is there for biogas, but you make some modifications, you add a catalyst. What it does is it increases the efficiency of that particular biogas by, let's assume, by 70%. So that becomes a human intervention, right? Biologically, it's only giving you a 30% efficiency, but when you add the particular catalyst, you are able to increase the efficiency by up to 70%. So that becomes by that we will come out of this particular non-patentable subject matter. Schemes, rules, playing games. So all these are considered abstract ideas. Discovery of a new form of a known substance. So this is particularly related to the pharmaceutical medicines, right? So if you have come up with a new form, that is a new salt or a new polymorph or a new ester, so any derivative of a pharmaceutical compound, that would not be considered as a new substance, right? Unless you show that it has better biological action or something we call as a better efficacy over the already existing compound. And if you have come up with a new use of a known substance, that means, for example, we have this closing, right? So initially it was known to bring down fever. Now what you have done is you have discovered that it is also curing or bringing down headaches. So that becomes a new use of a known substance that was inherently present in that particular drug or that medicine. So that cannot be patented. So it also would come under the category of a discovery. Admixing of components which is resulting only in aggregation. That means if you are adding 1 plus 1 and you get 2, that would not be patentable. But if you are adding 1 plus 1 and you get 5, that may be patentable. That will not be aggregation. So aggregation is nothing but simply adding something. For example, you have crocin and you have aspirin. Right? Crocin is known for bringing down fever and aspirin is known for curing headache. So what you are doing is you are combining both these in one single pill. Normally you have it as 2. So when you go to the market, you receive it as 2 pills, right? So if you are including it in a one pill, that would not be a patentable subject matter, provided it's only adding or it's only bringing down fever or it's only bringing down a headache. But what if you miss, if you mix aspirin and crocin and it is capable of curing cancer, then that may be patentable. So as I said, 1 plus 1 is not 2 in that case. So it is coming out to be 5, right? That may be patentable. Topography of IC. So this is something which is covered under a different form of IP. Aggregation or duplication of known properties of known compounds, that is also not patentable. Something that is traditional knowledge, right? So something that is traditional knowledge is not patentable. So you have wound healing properties of turmeric, or you have what else do you have? I think you have chukuru. So that is also something that is being probably being used. That is something that my mother told me. So it comes from my mother would have probably received that from grandmother. So this is something that's coming traditionally. So that also would not be a patentable subject matter. Inventions relating to atomic energy. Primarily what it does is, it's because it affects the security of the nation. So will not be disallows granting of patents related to atomic energy. Literary, dramatic, artistic, musical works. So these are all basically category of work. So this is not covered under patents, but rather it forms a part of copyright. So literary work is what you write down, right? So you have books, you have novels, all those fall in the category of literary work. Artistic works are nothing but you have paintings, you have sculptures, so all those things fall in the category of artistic work. Then you have dramatic works, right? So dramatic works, opera, all those are categories of dramatic works. And you have musical works. So musical works is something that forms a part of film music or non-film music. So all those come in the category of musical works. So all those fall in the category of work which is protected under copyright. Right. So this is not an exhaustive list. It's just some of the points that I have added into this. If you want to look into the exhaustive list, you can look into section 3 and section 4. This is what I was talking about. How can you avoid patentable subject matter? You have microorganism. You come up with a technically modified microorganism that may be a subject matter of patents. Culture media could be because it's a composition of matter, that also could be a patentable subject matter. Non-biological process, that's what I said. So you have a semi-synthetic process. That is whenever there is a human intervention or a scientific intervention, that becomes non-biological, right? Something that's not occurring naturally. Even if it's trivial, but the effect that it causes, the result that it provides is huge, right? So that becomes a patentable subject matter. Diagnostic kit compositions. Remember I said that methods of treating is not a patentable subject matter, but what can be patented is a diagnostic kit. Right? Diagnostic kit is, for example, you are, I think most of you would be aware, we have something called as this particular device for estimating blood glucose, right? So you have a lot of companies that come with devices where you have this magnetic strip, you drop a blood and then connect it to this particular device, and it shows or it reflects the blood glucose value, right? So those kind of things can be patented, right? Medical devices are patentable subject matter. So you have discovered, you have invented a medical device which is capable of carrying out surgery. So these days you have doctors are being assisted by robots for carrying out surgery. So that could be a subject matter of patents. As I said, automation of novel devices. So you have come up with a program which is leading to robotics. Robotics are based on advanced software technology. So that can be patentable subject matter. The theory put into practice, theory is not patentable matter. But please remember that in addition to this, you also need to meet the requirements of patentability. That is novelty, condition, and the utility aspect. This is in addition to all those things. So just because your invention does not fall into this particular category does not mean that you will get a patent. So it has to go through the rigorous process of the requirement. Right? Why do you have to file patents? Yes? Why do you protect your products? Why do you protect your IP? Because if it leads to a valuable product and somebody is easily able to imitate and come up with a copy of your product in the market, then what it does is it reduces economic benefit, right? So it tends into your profit. So that's one of the reasons that we always say that if you have an invention in hand, please try to protect it. So you can protect, as I said, two categories of invention. So can be a method or a machine. And it provides you a right. So it excludes others from commercially carrying out all those activities. So what are the rights of the patent owner? As I said, so it prevents others from making, using, selling or importing. That means nobody can make, use, sell, import or offer for sale, even offer for sale your invention without seeking your permission, right? Only when the patent is granted. So these rights accrue only when the patent is granted. And when you have a monopoly, what it does, right? So if you are the only person in the market with a particular product and nobody else is there, so you can charge. That is, your profits are high. You can charge whatever amount you want. And to a certain extent, that is also misused, particularly in the case of pharmaceutical industry. So once the patent expires for a particular pharmaceutical product, the price goes down by more than 95%. So that is the premium that they charge by getting a patent. So that is how they manipulate things. Now it's a property, as I said. So So what can you do with your property if you are patent? What can you do with your physical property? You want to earn some money out of it. Time is it going to last? Are you going to be in darkness? Fine. So what do you do with your physical property? Right. So you have purchased a house and you can give it for rent or you can sell it. Right? So these are the things that you can do with physical property. Likewise, you can also do the same things with intellectual property. So you have patented your invention. So there is a product which is based on your patent which comes into the market. So if you want to earn revenue from it, you can license that patent to a particular entity. That means licensing is nothing but renting, and or you can sell your patent for a particular amount. Right. So this also acts as a tool for generating revenue. Have you heard about Samsung and Apple? Good. At least I have a unanimous yes about Samsung and Apple. They have a lot of patents. So what it does is, whenever a company is being acquired, it's like you have a house or a land in a prime property. So in a prime location. So the value of that property would be higher than something which is there, let's assume not in a prime location. So likewise, if you have a lot of patents, then what it does is it adds on value, it creates a lot of revenue generating source, so you earn a lot of revenue from that, and it also adds brand value. So whenever you look at a company, it says, there's a lot of patents, it adds value to this, and if somebody wants to acquire, it's just like a property at prime location always attracts can always charge a higher amount than a property which is not located in a prime location. Now these are the things the previously discussed are for what are the incentives for the inventor. Now what are the incentives for the general public, right? I said that it's an exchange, right? So the government is providing a protection in exchange for the information that is being disseminated. So these points would be, so if you want to work around, that means there is a patent and you realize that there are some flaws in the patent. That means there is some problem which has not been addressed. What you can do is you can always innovate on that particular patent and come up with a new product. So this is what, so this information comes in the public domain. So when it comes in the public domain, you always have the freedom of utilizing. Because what other modes do we have of not disseminating knowledge? You can also keep it as a